Hey guys, thanks for joining us joining me today rather. As you can see, Lydia and Quin are both out. Quin had to work tonight, and Lydia is coming back from visiting family. So it's just me tonight, which is why I'm running a little bit late. But I got this cool new cover, I guess, layover, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, and also excuse the thing there at the bottom. It's not correct for this show, but here we are. So I've got some. Wait, where am I? Thanks for joining The Broken Dead today. We are talking The Walking Dead for season 10, episode 6. And we got some news, teasers, and speculation for you today. So this is The Broken Dead. I'm sorry, let me... Wow, this is going to be fun. This mouse is not agreeing with me. Hey, so this is Dylan, by the way. Thanks for watching, if you're still watching, because it might be a little fun, a little off tonight, just because it's me and I'm used to railing off the other guys and other ones. Anyways, it's you and me tonight. If you've got some chat, I'd appreciate it. Hit me up, of course, on YouTube. Let me get it pulled up here. I'm sorry. Wow, this is going to be fun. But in other words, it was a great show tonight. Let me. Other ones. There we go. Okay, so. Let me go ahead and finish my intro. I apologize for that once again. So if you're new to the show, it's not normally like this. I apologize once again, but I'm glad to have you along for the ride. I'm saying we're because all of our lingo is written in we. But anyways, hope you'll join us live on YouTube next Sunday night, 10 p.m. Normally we start right on time, maybe a couple minutes here and there, but 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it'll be Quin and Lydia, usually, or Lydia sits right here and it's me right there. But anyways, so please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop a new video. Podcast listeners, please leave us 5 stars in your podcast app. And don't forget to check out that website at www.broken.picturesno.com. And don't forget also to check out the FOMO Show, where we discuss the top 3 things in pop culture that you might have missed this week. Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Which, by the way, this little ticker at the bottom, it's from the FOMO Show. I didn't have time to update it, but it will be good to go next week. So what are we looking at? All right, so spoiler alert, in case you don't know, we're going to get into spoiler territory. If you have not seen episode... Oh, Quin said he'll be back then. Squawking Dead said, yeah, you will. Appreciate you guys for chatting with me. Let's see, where was I? Spoiler alert. So, yes, we're going to get into spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the episode, go watch it. So I'm going to be talking about some stuff. So I'd hate to spoil it for you because it was a really good episode. So let's see, just rate the, well, okay. Let me get into the Walking Dead news just real quick. There's just a couple little items. Usually we do this, just the greater Walking Dead universe. It's like TWDU is what they call it now. But, also, I'm sorry, I'm feeling really nervous right now. I don't know why. It's been a while since I've done a video on my own. So I'm just going to get a drink of water and then just count to 3. All right. Sorry, I was in such a flurry to try to get the show ready. I'm actually just now sitting down and going, whew, catching my breath. So I had to get kids to bed and all kinds of stuff. It was fun. Small business owners, you guys know what I'm talking about. Small YouTubers don't have a team to help you. So anyways, like I said, this episode was pretty great. I'm going to say at least 9 out of 10, let's say, boar pits, pig pits. So, oops. Yes, it was a good episode. I'm not going to get into details just yet, but I thought it was pretty great. So this episode was titled Bonds. Usually we'd have Quin's silky voice talking right here. Quin's watching along with me, so I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Quin. Squawking Dead says every time he does his show, he panics. So where are my notes? Where are my notes? Yeah. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I apologize, Squawking Dead, for my Streamlabs bot there. They're kind of refrain from spamming caps. I need to make some adjustments in that. So let me go ahead and move on. The description is Carol and Daryl go on a mission together while Siddiq struggles to solve a mystery. So we found out pretty quick what the mystery is, you know, what's going on. Well, I guess the mystery could be two parts because for one, what the heck is going on with him? I mean, we know he's got PTSD and that he's dealing with some really hairy stuff, what he went through in the barn. And Dante seems to be trying to help him out with it. Seems to be the only one that really knows that something's not right. But the other side, of course, is, you know, Rosita is sick, and this sickness is spreading like wildfire, and it's very, very similar to, remember what we saw in the prison when they had the swine flu. If I had to guess, it's going to be back. Was it last episode or the episode before when Gamma was gutting the walkers right into their water supply? And yeah, that was 2 episodes ago, because last week Alpha even mentioned about the stream. So and Lydia called it. So props to Lydia for recognizing that. She's always good with details and stuff like that I usually miss. We've kind of reversed roles because she used to be the one like, what's going on? And I'd be the one picking everything apart. But now she's one-upping me, so I got to get back in it. So that's what I think personally, is that she's poisoning the water hole, you know, just like Woody said. What do you guys think? Do you think there could be something else going on? Do you think it actually is a bug? Because I mean, really, like Dante said, they're dealing with like medieval medicines or whatever, but they're dealing with old medicine, and every single year nobody's getting a flu shot. You know, the flu, I mean, think about how you know, you've heard stories about the Native Americans when the white man came over, and they're wiped out by, you know, lots of Native Americans were wiped out by the flu. And they played with that back, oh geez, what season was that? Season 3, maybe 3 or 4, back in the prison. I think it was probably 4, but because they had been there for a little bit. But anyways, I'm probably going to say but anyways a whole lot, but so get ready for that. So yeah, back in the prison, they had the swine flu, and that's really the only time they've dealt with like widespread sickness like that, other than right now, which, I mean, you know, it seems like there's a lot of missed opportunities in the show, as far as, we've talked about this before, as far as sickness and how they overcome that. And I mean, of course, you don't want to, as far as like writing a show and drama and things like that, you don't want to, you know, just keep rehashing the same thing over and over again, even though they're still going up against a big bad every season, and they're basically just changing the names. So, I mean, I guess in that way, they're kind of doing that. But it would be nice to see, like, maybe Eugene come up with something, or Siddiq come up with something. It was nice to see how he told Dante to get the herbs and ginger and things like that together. So he's working with herbal medicines. So that's really nice to see, like, how they're combating that, even though it was just kind of like a word in passing. But it seems to me like everybody's drinking the water, and that's why everybody's getting sick. So they're, the little tease in the description about Siddiq trying to find out a mystery. Like he wasn't really like Scooby doing anything, like looking into anything, trying to figure out what it was. It was basically just Dante, working the clinic or whatever, trying to keep everything under wraps because he knows that Siddiq is struggling, and he needs time away because he has been through the same thing with PTSD, so he understands what he's talking about. And so just a little sidebar, there's a theory out there that Dante is somehow a whisperer spy, and because the first time, at least one of the first times we meet Dante, they have that little exchange where Siddiq is just kind of like blanking out and staring at his mouth, and he's like, "Oh, why are you staring at my mouth? You giving me warm feelings inside," and all that, weird stuff. And and yeah, Dante's kind of a creep. Can't deny that. So I'm going to put this out here so I can kind of see it better, hopefully. Whoops. Me pushing no buttons. That's not going to stay. So Dante's kind of a creep, and that seems to be just his personality as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't want to chalk it up to just him being a veteran or in the military or anything like that. By no means is every military person like that. But I mean, we've seen movies and stuff, and that when a bunch of guys get together, it gets weird and, stuff like that. I mean, I don't have to go into detail. You know what I'm talking about. So I think that's just kind of like the type of person that Dante is. Like, he's not good with boundaries, obviously. Hitting on Rosita while she's potentially in her deathbed and to Siddiq, her baby's father. So he's kind of a creep, and I'm interested to see if they're going to follow the line in the comics where him and Maggie get together. That's going to be weird, just because I don't see Maggie suffering fools that easily, unless he's just kind of like some comic relief that she needed. I don't know how that's going to work, but it'll be interesting seeing how that plays out. Oh, Squawking Dead. Go ahead, check out his show, by the way. Squawking Dead is another Walking Dead show here on YouTube, and he's on Instagram, and that's where I met him through and everything. So, yeah, he's got a great show. Go check him out. Shout out. Woo woo. So, well, I'm not going to get ahead of myself as far as like comic relief. I do have something to say about that. So, we're looking at Rosita and Dante and Coco. So Siddiq obviously is taking care of Coco while Rosita is sick, and she keeps getting sicker and sicker. And of course, Dante's got this little exchange with the older lady, and which I guess that's just his bedside manner or whatever. It's kind of weird, but that's how he is. And then later on, Siddiq meets this or sees the same older lady, and she's talking about being on her deathbed. So this is obviously pretty serious. And sorry, Squawking Dead, I don't know what you're saying. Oh, wait, look, I can push the buttons. I'm sorry. Here we go. So, Squawking Dead says, poison it, blocking it off the water supply, as well as where is Aaron? Not informing the community. That's a very good point, because he was there and he was kind of watching it and he's not seeing it. Maybe like Gabe, Aaron is still out, and says it's been going on long enough. Should have been back by now. That's a very good point. But at the same time, if Gabe's not back yet, then Aaron could potentially not be back yet, and maybe that's how they find out, as Aaron comes back and is like, "What is going on?" And of course, that's another thing we talked about last week. Is just like Aaron has a lot of backstory that we haven't really tapped into, and because he used to go out and be a scout and get people, and he's a great judge of character, as well as like he helped found that civilization. He helped found Alexandria. He's been there pretty much since day one, even though he said he was from Vermont. But he's been there a lot longer, so much so that they trusted him to go out and bring new people into their community, and they trusted his judge of character. So it stands to reason that Aaron knows things like this and can recognize those types of problems because he's been through that type of thing before, potentially. So that's an interesting thing. In order to have little things like this happen, they have to remove certain characters who would know better. And maybe Gabriel would know too. I don't know. But of course, Aaron would obviously know because he saw it happening. And, but yeah, that's a very good point, Squawking Dead, that, why didn't he get on the radio and be like, hey dude, she's cutting guts into our water supply. But, so yeah, go back to, Siddiq, who is, Quin said it's time to see Aaron's dark side. Definitely. Yeah. That image, from the season 10 promo images where he's just like all gristled and mean looking and covered in blood, back when him and Negan had to go out, which was pretty interesting side to him. But as we saw last week, he still is soft and sweet and knows how to reach out to people and get what he wants out of people, the way he's reaching out to Gamma. And maybe he's going on a side quest with Gamma off somewhere. Who knows? 'Cause she wasn't in this episode either, as far as we could tell. So, maybe Gabe is on a rescue mission for Aaron. Potentially, that's possible. I mean, that maybe next week they could get into what's going on with them, and of course, different episodes they could be running parallel as far as time frames and stuff like that. So Siddiq is seeing Rosita after he's already talked to this older lady, and he's realizing that this could be it. Like this sickness could be bad. So he's just kind of getting freaked out again. That's what Siddiq does. Siddiq the freak just keeps getting freaked out every single episode. He's having freak out moments. He's got the PTSD going on. He'll kind of go off into his head. He sees a spider. He sees everything, blood, Rosita, whatever sets him off. It doesn't matter. Not to downplay anybody that's going through PTSD or has that, but of course, we have to talk about the character. But so he kind of like blanks out and wakes up with Coco on top of the windmill, and that was such a fast little scene. I really wish they would have gone more into detail with that. And of course, next week from the teaser on Talking Dead, we see Siddiq, and he looks like he's lost, and he's just kind of like, they're doing the blurry in and out of focus thing, and his hand is all bloody. He's beating his chest, like trying to like kind of like, the way I took it is just kind of like trying to like wake himself up, trying to feel something, because he's feeling like the whoa, 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 whoa. If you've ever had that before, he's like got vertigo type thing going on. And he just jumps out in the water. He's obviously at Alexandria, and he jumps in the lake, the little pond out there where they've got the little dock set up and everything. So, and that's where it cuts off. So we're definitely going to see something going on with Siddiq. And some people still think Siddiq is a traitor. I don't think so. I don't think this is guilt. I think this is, I don't think it's guilt from being a traitor. I think it's guilt from like survivor's remorse, that he's going through. So, let's go on to, one of the main items, Carol and Daryl. Of course, we see them going out. Carol's going out in the morning, and Daryl kind of sees her. And Daryl seems to be keeping an eye on her because he knows something's not right with her as far as like, with the meds she was taking or the prescription pills or whatever it was. So he kind of follows her out there and obviously knows that she's straight up lying to him. And, excuse me, sorry. So yeah, she's obviously lying to him, and it's weird because like Scott Gimple was supposed to be on Talking Dead, and I completely agree with, but he was sick, and he kind of like sent some remarks for them to read, and but what he said about it is that like the episode is called Bonds, and he said that relationships are being tested by outside forces. And Carol and Daryl are basically kind of having like a role swap where Daryl was usually the one trying to get away and Carol was keeping him in. And now Carol's the one trying to get away and go do crazy things. And Daryl is trying to reel her in. And so that's a pretty interesting exchange there where he's having to dig in her bag. And she's like, hey, did you find what you're looking for? And she goes out there and obviously she's had that plan the entire time. He found the plastic handcuffs in, on the walker or the whisperer that she had captured, and pretty close call there for Daryl when he got trapped between the whisperers and the walkers, and they basically just barely missed him when he had to, cut the walker guts and get it all over his face and everything. And so I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. There was something I was wanting to say about that. Well, maybe it's about Negan later, because we see Negan, and when he's walking with the Whisperers later, and he doesn't have, and he's with Beta, and he doesn't have the skins on him. He doesn't have guts on him or anything like that. And he seems to be fine. And he's just like running his mouth talking. And so that seems to be a little, I didn't like that. That seems to be a discrepancy. That's also one of the things I didn't like about Fears. They could just like put a little blood on their face and they're good to go. And they just walk in among them. But, I did like how, like, even in the same episode, Daryl just slathered his face with guts. So, Squawking Dead said, I hate it, not really, because it's a good narrative. Daryl, when he did this, hating Carol more because it's 10 years later and she should know better. Yeah, for sure. Everything that they've been through, Carol should know better. I mean, she's going through some stuff. Everybody's going through stuff. It's the apocalypse. Come on, Carol. You're supposed to be she's always kind of been on the outside, as far as like even when she got kicked out of the community by Rick and everything for, Karen and what's his face burning them. When she tried to stop the sickness before. Good thing Carol's not home right now. So she's always kind of been on the outside, and Daryl there with her, but now Daryl's actually trying to step up and she's not. So that's a nice little contrast right there. I don't know why my little Streamlabs bot is long messages. Yeah, I need to make some adjustments. I apologize for that. So that was a pretty big thing, and it looks like that whole thing is just going to go belly up and really cause some problems and get things messed up for them and the Whisperers, and really get some stuff going. It sounds like Lydia might be coming in the door here. She might jump in. We'll see. But then we've got, of course, let's get into Eugene and Rosita first. Of course, they have the little sweet moment on the radio, and Eugene seems like he's just straight up moved to Hilltop. And because she asked him, what are we saying? Okay, on the outside because Oops, it deleted it again. Let me see what we got. On the outside, because she did what's required. Now she's blinded by rage, and like Daryl said, might get the community members killed. Yeah, absolutely. She's being completely selfish, and that's not. Well, I guess it is unlike Daryl, because even before, when she would screw up, it would be for the sake of what the greater good, what she thought the community needed. So, yeah, she's off on a tangent now. She's just doing her own thing. So, sweet little moment with Eugene and Rosita, and only to be stood up later when, of course, he doesn't know that Rosita is sick and she's in the infirmary. And so then later on, when he's sitting there and he starts reaching out, Ghost, hush. I think my dog just realized that Lydia's home, so he's growling. So yeah, he's sitting there waiting for Rosita, and then, you know, decides to just start playing on the radio, and Tater Bug is his call sign or whatever. But so yeah, reaches out, and of course this is a line in the comic where you know, or not a line, but a story line in the comic where he is talking to Stephanie on the other end, and that leads to bigger implications. And of course, she didn't say her name yet, but if this is Stephanie from the comics, that's kind of like a little relationship for him. And I mean, they had a sweet little moment there talking about ice cream and stuff like that. And so one of the things that stood out to me about this is it seemed like almost like they had retconned the last scene of last season, where, you know, he hears somebody calling on the radio, and he runs in and gets the radio, the little teaser cliffhanger thing that they did. And it almost like you know, we're 6 episodes in and they still haven't addressed that. And now it seems like they're just gonna straight up retcon it. So I don't really like that, but who knows what they're doing at this point. Angela Kang is finding her footing, so maybe they're just trying to change things around and decided that there was something better to do. Who knows? We'll have to watch and see. So Negan and Beta. Oh man, this is one of my favorite parts. So yeah, he's going out, and what do you guys think? Do you think that Negan is actually trying to become a whisperer, or do you think he's playing Beta the entire time? And because I mean, he's a loudmouth, and Beta calls him on it, and you know, threatens to slit his throat. And of course, you know the line from the comics, "Frowny make 2 knives." I think that's what it was. He didn't let that one out, but he did say the Jolly Green Giant line, which is pretty cool. Squawking Dead said, "I wonder if it's the same voice. Might as well be. It could potentially be the same voice. I mean, maybe. It seemed like this was the first time that he had talked to her. I mean, I don't know. It seemed like it would have made more sense to like him having heard that voice, and then maybe not making a connection with it, and that's why he was so insistent on getting the parts from the satellite. And now he's able to actually reach out and try to find the voice. You know, maybe they'll kind of go back and explain that a little bit, but that would make more sense rather than just ignoring what happened. So we'll see. Oh, what do we got? Let's see. Juggernauts. I think Negan's playing the long con. We're about to go and going pretty far to do it. He's about to bust some heads. I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll blow your house all the way into the last episode. Abso-freaking-lutely. I agree. 110%. Things about to get messy. Even the promo image this episode where Negan kind of had like a bloody hand and he was like kind of looking up at Beta. I thought for a second maybe that kind of went down, you know, what's about to happen, or what happened in the comics. I won't spoil that for you. But things about to get crazy. So, yeah, he's getting close to Alpha for one reason only. And in the comics, when Brandon let him out, he had that little interchange with Brandon in the comics, rather than what happened last week, Brandon wanted to go, like his mom was killed by the Whisperers and his dad was killed by Rick or something like that, or vice versa. And he just wanted them to go like destroy each other and wipe them all out. And Negan killed him, not in the same way, but he killed him and was like, yeah, that's your plan. That's not my plan. And then he went looking for the Whisperers. So it stands to reason. I mean, of course, they're always going to remix some stuff and it's not going to be the same, but could potentially have some surprises for us. Or things could go down the same way, and we get that awesome moment that we're looking for. So hopefully we see it. I really want to see it. I'm not sure if I want Negan to be the new Rick necessarily, but I mean he's a nice weapon to have in your back pocket if you need it. I mean, I could see maybe potentially eventually, I guess, him being one of the not the founders, but part of the council. But that's got some major implications for when Maggie gets back. If he goes and he delivers on what his plan could be and then comes back and then they accept him and let him roam free, and then Maggie gets back and she's not ready to deal with that, and then of course, that could be a civil war or something potentially. Who knows at this point? I mean, Hilltop is in such disarray. It's hard to say what's going to happen when she comes back. I imagine that she would step into the role that she had as leader. But, I mean, she's supposed to be back for all next season. So hopefully she's back. But with this tease of Eugene on the radio and the bigger communities coming into play, we could be moving into the bigger communities, especially with this third show. And that was the other thing is Michael Cutlett's confirmed that they have started production on the third Walking Dead show, and he is directing some of those episodes. So we still don't have a name for it yet. Scott Gimple teased that it would be like, Look Who's Walking Now or something like that. But we'll see. Surely that's not it. Obviously that's not it. So just as far as like the other seasons or the other series, Scott Gimple did kind of tease that they would have like new weapons, and he said that even if 5% of the population was left of the Earth or of America, that would still be quite a few people, several hundreds of thousands of people. So these communities, it stands to reason, they're pretty dang big, and they've gotten to a place where they're just back to normal. And of course, if you've read the comics, you know anything about the comics, you know that's how it is with these other communities. Even though the Walking Dead universe and the shows seem to be going a different direction with, we've got the 3 circles that was teased in Fear on the side of the helicopter with Jadis. And Jadis, is that correct? Yeah, I think so. So those basically are supposed to be like 3 different communities, and we're getting one, which is Monuments, is like the shooting name for the show. The third series. And so they're like, they even say in the teaser that we stand as monuments as for the world that's past or something like that. So, and then we've got, I can't even remember the name of the one that's in the actual comic right now. Let me check the thing here again. It says, Squawking Dead says, not so fast on stepping into her old role. I wonder. She has to deal with a lot, but I imagine so much has happened to her. That's true. That's true. I mean, and maybe, I mean, like in the comics, her and Dante get together, but in the comics, she never left like this. So they're having to adapt some things. So, I mean, she could potentially have her man back in the other community with what's her face. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's see. Of course, Negan and Beta, we can't talk about that enough. It's just, you know, making him do, you know, the I want to say bitch work is what they said on The Talking Dead, where he just making him go out and dig holes and cut up cut up walkers, and which is a funny little thing. But what I wanted to say earlier about that, like as far as like comic relief, I kind of felt like the music, it was fun, but it didn't feel like The Walking Dead necessarily, especially when you're dealing with the big bads and all that. It just makes them less scary, I guess. Even though Negan is doing everything he can to kind of, undermine Beta at every turn and get close to Alpha for obvious reasons. I mean, maybe. I don't know. What did you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments and everything. Let's see. Squawking Dead said Monument Day. Again, much more needed humor via Negan and Beta. Yeah, that actually, I mean, even from the comics, that's a really comedic type interchange. So, yeah, I guess it goes along with it. But it just, I don't know. Just personally, I mean, that was one thing I liked about Scott Gimple is the tone, even though like some of the things, you know, obvious decisions, you know, I didn't like with Carl and Rick and that kind of thing. But I did like the tone, and I did like the fact that he always had, like there was a puzzle, you know what I mean? Like things played out. As with Angela Kang right now, I know she's new, but it seems like everything is just kind of like on the surface, and it is what it is, even with, you know, with the mystery with Siddiq and things like that. And what's going to happen with Beta, and what's going to happen with Alpha, and what's going to happen with Carol and Daryl. It all seems pretty obvious what's going to happen, and we're just rolling towards that, watching it unfold. So, I mean, and I mean, I do like that you've got certain points, certain highlights in the comic that you want to hit, certain notes that you want to hit, but it seems like getting there is just a basic unrolling. It's all surface level, and not a whole lot of mysteries and jaw on the floor moments and gut punches and just big surprises and things like that. I know they want. I know the fandom and myself want them to get away from the cliffhangers and things like that they did with Negan, but at the same time, that was like gut wrenching moments, and we're 6 episodes in. We got 2 episodes left in the mid-season, before the mid-season break, and nobody's really died yet. Even though, one of the in the teaser with Siddiq next week, we do see some blood running off, and Siddiq's hand's all bloody. So, I mean, that could be one of those gut punching moments where potentially he's having, he has accidentally killed the baby, Coco. I mean, that would be super dark. They haven't gone there really. So that would be super dark. I hope they don't go there, but I mean, I guess that would be a shock if they did. So let's see. Negan doesn't bow. He bows before Alpha, and that's the end of the episode. So I'm just kind of rambling here, and if you haven't noticed, I'm struggling, but I appreciate you watching. I thank you for it, and we'll be back next week for sure. Not by myself, and I'll be a little bit more prepared, and I'll be able to rail off the other guys. But this episode is a little bit off, and but I apologize, like I said. So, but if you enjoyed it, let me know. I appreciate it. Keep watching, and I can promise it'll get better. It'll keep getting better. And let's see. Next episode is called Open Your Eyes, which was the line that Siddiq was hearing when he kind of blacked out with Coco. The description says, Carol pushes boundaries that make Daryl uncomfortable. Alpha and Beta have reservations about someone. I wonder who that could be. Maybe Gamma. Probably Negan. So, I think that's it for me. Let's see. Squawker Dead said you did fine. See you soon, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Quin also said I did great. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. So my outro here says, thanks for joining us, me. Appreciate, man, I am a mess. This is hilarious. So, I mean, if anything else, you just watch the train wreck, man. It's just, you can't look away. So, hope that you'll join us live next week. Give it another shot. Right here on YouTube, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please like and subscribe. Hit the little bell icon, and so you know when we drop a new video. And podcast listeners, please leave 5 stars on the podcast app. And don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesno.com. And also don't forget to check out the store. You can go in the comment or in the description below where it says support the show. If you go to that link, you can check out some of our merch. We've got some new shirts up there. You know, Quin, one of his lines is Grown Man Judith. We've got a new shirt with that on there. It's pretty sweet. So go check that out. You can get different merch, different things. And don't forget to check out the FOMO Show. Got FOMO. Don't miss out on Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. This is Dylan, and I appreciate you watching. If I can get this mouse working. And I'll see you next time. Peace.